you everybody for being here. It's always a pleasure to start my day with you. Depending on your time zone, you might be ending your day, but it's nice that we can all be here together. We're going to start class this morning seated in a comfortable cross-legged position. If it's uncomfortable for you to have your legs crossed, you're welcome to extend your legs in a wide angle out in front. Also, if you have a bolster in your space to lift your sits bones up off of the earth, we'll spend just 2 or 3 moments here finding our breath. With our sits bones lifted slightly higher than our knees, it helps to open the pelvis and settle the low back into its natural curve, allowing us to sit up nice and tall, creating lots of space for the ribs to expand with each inhale and the diaphragm to drop down into the belly. Letting the diaphragm rise back up into the ribs on the exhale. And as we settle in for another day of inspiration and information at our conference, we want to allow the mind, body, and spirit to enter the day from a place of grounded balance. So we'll begin our class this morning with some real balancing breath work. Often we start either by getting the inhale going to fire up the body, and then sometimes we end with the long settling exhale. We're going to start with that balancing breath. So we'll inhale, nice long deep inhale to a count of 4. We're going to hold for a count of 1 at the top, and we're going to drop the breath to a count of 4 on the exhale and hold for a count of 1 at the bottom. You might have heard of this technique, sometimes called 4-part breath, sometimes called square breathing or box breathing. So we'll inhale that count of 4, hold for a count of 1 at the top, exhale, count of 4, and hold for a count of 1 at the bottom. Letting your awareness stay focused on your breath, focused on the count. Letting our awareness come into our body through our breath. We'll do one more cycle here. And as we move into the movement portion of class, I encourage you to continue coming back to this breath cycle, allowing the mind and body to be balanced, allowing an ease in the nervous system. This type of breath work is almost like a massage for the vagus nerve. Keeps us regulated, steady, present. And with our next inhale, let the arms rise to the sky, breathing in the abundance that surrounds us. Fingertips reach for the heavens, shoulder blades drop to the earth. Creating long arms here, feeling that space between the ears and the shoulders. Strong belly, long spine. Feeling the body grow, feeling the space between the vertebrae expand. Keeping the sits bones grounded into the earth as the fingertips rise up. One more breath here. And with our exhale, right hand comes down to the left knee, left hand comes behind us. Sit up tall on the inhale. On the exhale, take that twist just a little bit deeper. We're going to gaze over the left shoulder. We're using our belly here for the twist. So think about those external obliques, transverse obliques, really engaging the muscles to help us twist rather than using the body as an anchor that we pry ourselves off of. So strong belly here, long breath. And from here, we'll slowly return to center on the exhale. Arms rise with the inhale. Left hand comes to right knee, right hand comes around the back of the body. Again, use that belly. So really engage our core to help us twist. When you feel like you're about as far as the body will let you go, we can place that hand behind us or on the sacrum. Allows us to lift tall as well as continue to twist, gazing over the right shoulder. Strong belly, long spine. And release on the exhale, coming all the way back through center. Let's roll those shoulders up and back. And change directions, come up from behind and roll forward. And if you are seated up on a cushion, go ahead and set that to your side. We're gonna bring our feet nice and wide. Toes are gonna reach for the sky. Get right up on top of those sits bones and reach the toes up as if you're trying to bring those toes back towards you. Maybe even feel the kneecaps come back towards you. Really breathing into the inner thighs, breathing into the hamstrings. Our hands are gonna come down in front. Lift through the center of the head. Keep that belly nice and strong. Engaging the legs. So we're not even incorporating a forward fold yet. We're just engaging the legs. So breathing gently into the backs of the legs, into the inner thighs, being mindful on the knee. And from here, we'll slowly start to come forward. Begin by just coming to the front sides of the sits bones. From there, you can walk the fingertips out, maybe just half steps out, long through the spine. Breathe here. Notice when you feel like you're at the end point of your stretch and hang out in that space, bring your awareness back into your breath. You might find that resting at the end point allows for the muscles to open deeper, maybe letting you come farther forward. Again, we never want to push the body into something. We're simply inviting, giving the body an idea, a direction, and then letting it follow. One more long breath here. And with our next inhale, coming all the way back through center. We're gonna bring our right foot in, keep the left foot where it is. Sit up nice and tall on the inhale. On the exhale, again, using those belly muscles, we're gonna twist to face the left foot. One hand on either side of the left leg. Long and strong through the spine, through the belly, and then slowly start to walk your fingers towards that left ankle, eventually letting the gaze drop to the knee. Attempting to keep the right sits bone planted into the earth. We're really focusing on that space between the bottom of the right ribs and the top of the right hip. And find your breath. Opening through the QL, so that nice little muscle that gives a lot of us low back pain. Connecting on to the sides of the spine, connecting on to the top of the hip and the bottom of the ribs. Gently opening through the lower back. And with our next inhale, we'll slowly make our way back to center. And we're going to twist to face the right knee. Place one hand on either side of the right knee, and then curl the left toes in. We're going to lift through the back of the left knee and make our way into pigeon. You're always welcome to grab for a bolster to set it underneath that right hip if that feels most right for you. Maybe eventually releasing the left toes, maybe eventually settling into that right hip. You can be really gentle with yourself. Chest is open out towards the front of the mat. We want to be mindful that we're not sitting up real tall here. The direction is forward towards the top of the mat rather than center of the head towards the sky. We'll take one more breath. And you're welcome to stay right here, or if you're feeling openness in that hip, you can lower your hands, Lower your elbows, maybe even lower the forehead towards the earth. Again, you're welcome to grab for a bolster to place under that right hip if that feels good for you. Releasing those right glutes, releasing the lateral rotators, breathing deep into the sits bones, deep into the pelvis. We'll take one more breath. And with our next inhale, slowly start to press up. We'll press the palms back into the earth. We're going to curl the left toes under, lift through the back of the left knee, and then step the right foot back to find plank. You're welcome to find tabletop instead of plank. Tabletop brings the knees to the earth, palms directly below shoulders, knees directly below hips. If plank feels good for you this morning, we'll take one more breath here. And on our exhale, find downward dog. Heels make their way towards the earth, pedal out the feet, shift that weight from left to right. Maybe give yourself a moment to notice if you feel any difference between the left and right sides of the body. Sits bones are reaching towards the heavens, heels are reaching towards the earth. We'll take one more long breath here. And with our next inhale, bend the right knee, bring it all the way through up in between the hands. Lower back down into that right hip, and then rotate the left toes to the sky. Sitting up nice and tall, we're gonna bring left foot in to meet the right, finding Baddha Konasana. Interlace the fingers around the toes, take a nice big heartfelt deep breath, lifting the chest. On the exhale, belly button's gonna come in towards the spine. We'll round forward, tuck the chin towards the chest. Inhale, lift through the heart, shoulders roll down and back. Exhale, belly button in, chin towards chest. And with our next inhale, we'll sit up nice and tall. We'll keep the left foot where it is and bring the right foot out. Again, using the belly. So we're gonna twist towards that right foot first, placing the hands on either side of the right leg. Lift through the spine, engage the core, and then slowly walk the fingers towards the right ankle, eventually allowing your gaze to drop towards your knee. Again, we're really focusing on the low back on that left side, breathing into the QL, creating space between the vertebrae, space between the ribs and the top of the hip. And find your breath, coming back into that even, steady, balanced breathing. One more cycle here. And as you're ready with your next inhale, come back to center. And let the hands come forward. We're going to use the belly again. Lots of activation in the core this morning. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, twist to the left. Place one hand on either side of that left knee. We're going to roll the right toes in, lift through the back of the right leg, and step the left, or excuse me, sit into that left hip. So again, grab for a bolster if that feels good for you. You don't have to drop all the way into the earth. We can use props, we can use cushions, maybe even blocks, and we're gonna settle into that left hip. Give yourself time, release the right toes. And again, the trajectory of the spine is slightly angled forward. So the heart is reaching out towards the top of the mat rather than center of the head reaching for the heavens. As you feel ready, you can lower down onto elbows, maybe onto palms, maybe forehead to the earth. Again, follow what feels most right for you and your body this morning. Child's pose is always an option. So if pigeon is not right for you, you're welcome to come to child's pose. If you prefer to be doing yoga in a seated position, or if you have a chair near you that might be more comfortable, simply bring your ankle on top of your opposite knee. Working those same muscle groups, we're releasing through the glutes, releasing through the lateral rotators, opening the back line. We'll take one more long, deep breath here. And with our next inhale, slowly start to press up. We're going to curl the toes under behind us, lift through the back of that right knee. Again, options here are plank if you're feeling that's the right position for you, or tabletop. Tabletop leaves those knees down. If we are in plank, we want to think about a long line from the heels all the way up the spine and out the center of the head. Strong belly here. Peel the belly up and away from the earth. Press the palms down deep into the earth. One more breath. And with our exhale, we'll find downward dog. Again, pedal out the feet. Shift your weight from left to right. Give yourself a moment to get comfortable in this upside down position. Heels are reaching towards the earth. Sits bones are reaching towards the heavens. We'll take a couple breaths here. And with our next inhale, we're going to walk our hands and feet towards one another, making our way to the center of our mat in our full forward fold. We're in Uttanasana. Sits bones are reaching for the sky. Forehead and center of the head are reaching towards the earth. Really let go of the upper body. Maybe a gentle shake of the head, yes, or a gentle shake of the head, no here. You can let the arms dangle towards the earth, or you're welcome to interlace at the elbows. One more breath here. Grounding the feet into the earth, we're going to bring a gentle bend into the knees and begin rolling to standing. Belly button stays in nice and tight towards the spine, all the way up. Engage that low belly, one vertebrae at a time. Eventually rolling the shoulders back, lifting through the center of the head, and we're in our mountain. Feet are grounded into the earth. Knees are still buoyant, although the legs are straight. We want to be mindful that we're not locking out through the knees. Find that neutral pelvis. So maybe even a gentle tuck in the pelvis, lengthening through the lumbar spine all the way up out the center of the head. Shoulders are soft, fingertips are draping towards the earth. Eyes can be closed, or you can settle your gaze on something not moving out in front. And notice where you are. Find your breath. Notice if your weight is shifting into the toes and then back into the heels. Maybe one foot feels heavier into the earth than the other. We're just noticing. And with our inhale, arms rise. Reach through the fingers. Palms come to touch, and we're going to fold forward, coming back to our forward fold all the way down, gently pressing the hands into one another, keeping the collarbones and shoulders open as we come to the earth. Placing the palms just below the knees will lift for a flat back. Roll the sits bones out behind. Gaze is at your mat. And exhale, fold forward. Soften the knees, bring the hands to the earth. We're going to step the hands out just one or two steps towards the top of the mat, and then bring our feet as wide as the mat. So we're in a kind of short, stout downward dog here. Feet are slightly wider than the hips, and hands are reaching about halfway as far as we would for a full dog. From here, our right hand is going to come to the outside of the left ankle. So we cross that right arm through. We bring the right hand to the outside of the ankle, and then we bring our gaze under the left armpit. Thinking about creating space between the right shoulder blade and the spine. And exhale, release. From here, we'll bring the left hand to the outside of the right ankle. Again, breathing into that space between left shoulder blade and spine. Especially sitting at the computer, sitting at a desk, this area often needs a lot of love.
And slowly release, coming back into that short, stout downward dog. We're going to walk our feet back to hip width apart and then step back for our full dog. Bringing that angle a little bit wider. Sits bones are still reaching towards the heavens. With our next inhale, right foot flies to the sky. Point through those right toes. Reach as if you're trying to put your footprint on the ceiling. And then the right foot's going to come all the way through up in between the hands. We're going to plant our feet for warrior one, heel of the right foot in line with the instep of the left. Knee comes directly over that right ankle, strong in the quads, strong in the belly, eventually rising all the way up for warrior one. Hands come up overhead. Try to square off the hips so that the hip points are pointing out towards the skinny edge of the mat. If you're noticing that your hips are open towards the wide edge of the mat, bring your stance slightly closer together. We'll allow those hips to square off. Heel of the right foot in line with the instep of the left foot. Again, the right knee is directly above or somewhere behind the ankle. Arms are reaching for the sky, shoulders are soft. Warrior one, find your breath. We're going to continue reaching through the fingers as we come forward. Chest is coming towards the right quads. Reach through the fingers and find a long line from the tip of the fingers to the left heel. And with our inhale, stand tall, warrior one. And slowly release the hands by your side. We're going to step left foot forward to meet the right. Come right into your mountain. Using that muscle memory, find your mountain, find your balance. And inhale, arms rise. Palms come to touch. We'll fold forward. Again, gently pressing the palms into one another as we come all the way down. Inhale for a half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Soften the knees. We're going to step the feet back for downward dog. If downward dog is not a comfortable position for you, you're welcome to take child's pose here. Heels make their way towards the earth, sits bones to the sky. Left foot rises, point through those toes. Again, think about trying to put your toes on the ceiling. And then the left foot swings all the way through. Plant the feet for warrior one. Heel of the left foot in line with the instep of the right. Long and strong here as we rise up. We don't want to just fling ourselves into the pose. We want to be using the muscle groups, using the strength of the body. Quads are strong, glutes are strong, belly is strong here, long through the spine. Take a moment to make those micro adjustments to square off the hips or adjust the alignment of the knee over the ankle. We want to keep the body safe. And from here, we'll begin to fold forward. We're going to reach through the fingers, keep the spine long, belly's engaged, and then find that long line, that diagonal from the right heel up and out the fingers. Left quads are strong and active here. With our next inhale, stand up tall. Warrior one. And exhale, hands come to our side. We'll step right foot forward to meet the left. Back in our mountain. Lift through the center of the head, ground the feet into the earth. Strong belly. Coming back into the breath. Count to 4 on the inhale. Hold for 1, 4 on the exhale. And inhale, arms rise. Palms come to touch. Again, gently press the hands into one another as we fold forward, coming all the way down into our full forward fold. Hanging the upper body, sits bones reaching for the heavens. Placing the palms just below the knees, lift for a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Soften the knees until your hands can come all the way to the earth. And we're going to step back for plank. Last one this morning. Again, tabletop is more than welcome. Peel the belly up and away from the earth. Long line. We want to be mindful that our hips aren't sagging towards the earth. So check your alignment here. One more breath. And with our exhale, knees come down. Shift back for child's pose, forehead to the floor. Breathing into the hips. And with our next inhale, we're going to rise up just enough to slide the left arm underneath the right armpit. Lower down gently onto the outside of that left shoulder. We're releasing the posterior deltoid, releasing the rotator cuff, really breathing all the way towards the spine. Letting go of the rhomboids. Breathe here. And with our inhale, slowly rising up, coming back into child's pose. And we'll come up again just enough to slide the right arm underneath the left armpit. Coming down gently on the outside of the right shoulder. We don't want to collapse into our rotator cuff here. We want to come down nice and slow. Allowing that stretch from the pinky finger all the way to the spine. And with our inhale, we'll slowly unwind, coming back into child's pose. From here, we're going to press our elbows, our forearms, and our palms down into the earth. Shift the weight forward so the shoulders are directly over the elbows. And then step the feet back behind and let the knees come to the earth. So we're lowering down onto our belly nice and slow, making our way into sphinx. The gaze is out over the top of the mat. Forearms, palms, elbows are pressing into the earth, lifting through heart center. We want to think about peeling the belly up and away from the mat. Imagine that you're trying to lift that belly button as far away from the mat as you can. And with our exhale, lower all the way to the earth and take a moment to come over onto your back. From here, we're going to bring our knees into our chest with a gentle rock from side to side, releasing any tension that may have formed in the low back during sphinx or during our planks. Maybe even a little massage here, taking some circles. Just rock and roll on either side of the sacrum. And then slowly lower the feet down onto the earth. We're going to bring our feet just a little bit wider than our hips, maybe reaching to the outer edges of the mat. Hands are going to come up overhead, palms open to the room. From here, we're going to drop our right knee towards midline, coming onto the big toe edge of the right foot. As we reach through the fingers, we're allowing the belly to open, releasing the psoas and hip flexors. And maybe even feeling the stretch come all the way down through the quads into the knee. Again, come back into your breath. Find those long, steady, and even inhales and exhales. Enjoying that moment between. We'll take one more breath here. And with our next inhale, stand the knee. And when you're ready, we'll drop the opposite knee down towards midline, coming onto the big toe edge of the left foot. Again, hands stay up overhead, really allowing that stretch to come all the way down the front of the body.
Breathing deep into the belly. Gentle hip opener through the flexors. Releasing the quad. If this is uncomfortable on your knee, please back out. And with our next inhale, stand to the knee. We're going to walk our feet back towards one another. Hands are going to come by our sides. Palms press now into the earth. Heels come in close to the sits bones. Imagine that you've got a ball or a block between your knee. And if you have one near you, you're welcome to bring that in. Place it just in the inner thighs, just between the knees. And from here, we're going to tuck the tailbone towards that space between the knees. This will flatten the low back. Again, we're not lifting the tailbone quite yet, just simply tucking it in that direction. Notice that it flattens the lumbar spine. Maybe even noticing that you can feel the entire lower and middle spine pressing into the earth. The neck will remain lifting away. See if you can travel down from the tops of the shoulders all the way to the sacrum, making contact with the mat. This gentle tuck of the tailbone engages the belly, so maybe noticing a little bit of strength or heat forming in that low belly. And from here, we're going to slowly rise into some pelvic tilts. So pressing the hands down into the earth, we maintain that tuck. And then we'll lift the tailbone as if we're lifting a string of pearls. One vertebrae at a time lifts up. We lift through the tailbone, lift through the sacrum, coming through the lumbar vertebrae up into the thoracic spine. From here, we're pressing the back of the heart into the earth. So we only want to come up as far as we can while the back of the heart is still making contact with the mat. So that space between the shoulder blades is still rooted into the earth. Sits bones are rising high, glutes are strong. Bring the weight into your heels. We'll take one more breath here. You can use the palms and the forearms for balance. And as you're ready, we'll lower down one vertebrae at a time. The last thing to touch the earth is the tailbone. So slowly coming on down, again, feel the engagement of the core as we lower down. Last thing to make contact is the tailbone. Release the low back. Feet come together and we'll drop the knees wide, letting go of the perineum, releasing the lumbar spine, letting those knees flop open and find your breath here. And with our next inhale, we'll stand the knees. Again, heels come nice and close to the sits bones. Feet are about hip width apart. We'll again press the palms and forearms into the earth. Start with that gentle tuck, tailbones points to the space between the knees, and then lifting one vertebrae at a time. Again, we're just gonna come up to the back of the heart. Weight is in the heels. Lifting through those hips, strong belly. Glutes are active, quads and hamstrings are both strong here. Again, imagine that ball or block between the knees, palms and forearms and elbows making contact with the earth. Back of the heart keeps us rooted, allows the front of the heart to remain open. And from here, we'll come down one vertebrae at a time. The last thing to touch down is the tailbone. And then from here, we'll bring our knees into our chest, giving a great big hug, maybe a gentle rock from side to side. Coming back to center, we'll take a mindful head to knee. Gently press the knees away. Tuck the chin towards the chest, rounding the spine. Belly button comes in. And with our exhale, lower all the way down. Feet come to the earth. We'll keep the knees standing. With our next inhale, we're going to pick up the hips, Shift them to the far left and then drop the knees to the far right. Arms are going to come out to our sides, palms open to the space in the room. Enjoying a gentle twist. You're welcome to look over the left hand if that feels good for your neck. Long inhales and long exhales here. And with our next inhale, coming back to center. Hips make their way back to the middle of the mat. And then gently lift the hips and shift them to the far right. Knees now drop to the left. Again, if it's comfortable for you to look over the right hand, you're welcome to do so. We'll find our breath here. And with our inhale, slowly make our way back to center. Stay on the knees. Bring the hips back to the middle of the mat. Knees come in towards our chest. Give a great big hug here, maybe a gentle rock from side to side. Massaging that low back into the earth. And then feet come down to the mat. We'll extend the legs all the way down to the bottom of the mat. Arms come up overhead. We'll take a full body stretch, reaching through the fingers, reaching through the toes. Slowly walk the feet to that bottom right corner, cross the left foot over the top of the right. Hands go to the upper right corner and we'll hold on to that left wrist. We're gonna breathe down the left side of the body. Breathing from left pinky finger down into the armpit, releasing the space between the ribs. Releasing the space between ribs and hip. Opening through the IT band all the way down the lateral edge of the left leg. And from here, we'll find center. Full body stretch. We'll walk the feet to the bottom left, hands to the upper left, and we'll hold that right wrist. And breathing from right pinky fingers to right pinky toe. Open through the armpits, the rib cage, the side body. And from here, we'll slowly release, making our way back to center. We'll take one final full body breath. Reach through the toes, reach through the fingers. On our exhale, hands are going to come down by our sides, palms open to the space in the room. We'll let our feet flop open. You're welcome to grab for a blanket or add some socks or a layer onto your body if you feel that you might get cool. We're going to allow our body to recognize with muscle memory that Shavasana is a time for rest and restoration. Feel the back of the body on the earth, front of the body open, at ease. And let the eyes close if that feels comfortable for you. Maybe placing the tongue right behind the front two teeth where the teeth meet the roof of the mouth. Jaw becomes soft, back of the head becomes heavy. Releasing through the brow and the temples. letting the cheeks and the lips be soft. Allowing the back of the heart to root into the earth, allowing the front of the heart to be open. The sacrum grounds us in, holds the pelvis. And the heels allow the toes to float in space. As the body becomes more and more familiar with this position as being one of ease and rest, the mind begins to follow, allowing the mind to focus on the breath, watching the rise and fall of each inhale and exhale, giving the mind permission to let go of its worries, concerns, goals, aspirations for this moment and a few moments to follow will allow our mind to focus solely on the breath, knowing that all of that will be there for you at another time. We don't want to push anything away. We aren't trying to run from the inner workings of the mind. Simply giving the mind permission to rest. Watch the inhale come into the body, allowing chest and ribs to expand, diaphragm expands, low belly expands in all directions. Watching the breath leave the body. Belly button slides back down towards the spine. Diaphragm retreats into the ribs. Lungs empty. Continuing to allow each breath cycle to rise and fall at a pace that feels most natural. And the mind is simply observing rather than controlling the breath. And with your next inhale, bringing movement into the fingers and toes. And slowly allow yourself to begin rolling onto one side. And taking the next 1 or 2 breaths to come up to a comfortable seated position. Again, that can be cross-legged or legs extended. Maybe returning to a chair or a cushion. Orienting to an upright posture. Again, finding the breath. And with our next inhale, arms rise to the sky. Again, breathing in the abundance, the merit of our practice. Palms come to touch up overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. I want to thank you all for joining us in practice this morning. Have a wonderful day. Be inspired. Take care, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you. you.